ever stop to think about what really breaks a woman down? It's not a handsome face. It's not a fat bank account. And it's definitely not some poor sap crawling after her like a needy puppy. What actually drives a woman nuts, makes her doubt herself, and even rethink her entire existence? A guy who simply doesn't give a damn. Yes, indifference is the fatal blow. The female ego survives on one thing: attention. If you give it, congratulations, you lost. If you take it away, congrats again. You just became the prize. Now, maybe you're sitting there clinging to the illusion that if I'm nice, she'll like me. That if you're attentive, respectful, always available, she'll finally value you. Yeah, right. A man who chases after her is only good for one thing: inflating her ego. And the best part, or worst, depending on your level of masochism, the moment she's had enough of you, she'll toss you aside like a candy wrapper. But what if this time things were different? What if, instead of being just another extra in her little play, you became the leading man? Hold on tight, because today I'm gonna show you why indifference is the one thing she just can't swallow. And at the end, you tell me, who's chasing who now? Oh, and before we dive in, let's get real. You only stumbled upon this video because someone else had the decency to drop a like and subscribe. Now it's your turn to not be a freeloader of free content. So, do your part, like, subscribe, and as a bonus, drop a much appreciated in the comments. It's not for me, it's for the blasted algorithm. Because that's the only way this content reaches more people who need a wake-up call. No more dragging it out. Let's get to the brutal truth. Number 1, her ego is a hungry beast, and your attention is the main course. Have you noticed how women breathe in attention? How they live for likes, compliments, and dudes drooling over them for a mere hey? That's no coincidence, my friend. The female ego runs on one fuel: validation. And it doesn't matter if that validation comes from her dream crush or some random Joe. What counts is knowing there's a poor sucker in line, willing to spend time and energy trying to impress her. Now brace yourself for the sad part. If you're that guy, congrats. You're the one giving out free validation. You know that fool who likes all her pictures, sends good morning every single day, and keeps trying even when she replies with a dry lol? Yep, that dude's worth less than $1 to her. At best, he's a comforting reminder that there's always some guy on standby ready to stroke her ego. And guess how she sees you? As a fan. Now, pay attention to the twist. When a high-value guy gives her attention, that's a whole different story. Because a guy like that has options. He doesn't beg or shower her with praise. So if he gives even a bit of attention, it means something. Now imagine that same guy suddenly disappears, stops replying, vanishes from her stories, ignores her messages. Boom, system meltdown. Her ego starts screaming, "Did I do something wrong? Did he lose interest? Did he find someone better?" And there you go, now she's obsessed with figuring out what happened. Because for an ego that feeds on attention, being ignored by a guy who couldn't care less is a dagger to the heart. Now answer me this. Who's really in control here? The wimp who crawls and humiliates himself, or the guy who acts like she's irrelevant? The answer's staring you in the face. And here's the final strike. The more attention you give, the more predictable you become. And the more predictable, the less interesting you are. Want a concrete example? She posts a pic on Instagram. Who's the first to like and comment "beautiful" within 30 seconds? The desperate guy on duty. And who disappears? Doesn't like, doesn't comment, doesn't even watch her stories. The guy who makes her lose sleep. Guess who's on her mind? Exactly, scarcity always has higher value. And if you think this is just a theory, hold on, because in the next part, I'll show you how withholding attention sends her into a full-blown panic. Number 2, when you're indifferent, her system freezes. Now that we get that the female ego breathes attention, let's get to the real question. What happens when you simply stop feeding that hunger? Spoiler alert, it ain't pretty. Women spend their whole lives surrounded by free attention. Since they were old enough to post a selfie, there's been a line of guys ready to like, compliment, and drool without them lifting a finger. So when a guy comes along and just doesn't give a damn, her brain malfunctions. Because in her mind, all men want something. All men want her attention. All men want to conquer her. So when you act like she doesn't matter, you become a glitch in her system. At first, she might pretend not to care. But slowly, it starts to dawn on her. And that's when we enter the panic cycle TM. At first, she thinks you're just busy. Oh, he must be swamped. Maybe he forgot to check my story. No problem. Then she starts to feel something's off. Hold up. He saw my post but didn't like it? He read my message and didn't reply? Something's weird here. This weird feeling turns into discomfort. What the hell? He never acted like this. Is he talking to someone else? That discomfort becomes full-on paranoia. Why did he disappear? Did he lose interest? Did I do something wrong? Did he find someone better? And there you have it. You planted the seed of doubt. Now tell me, who's in control? While she's freaking out and checking her phone every 5 minutes, you're living your life. And trust me, that sense of losing control is her ego's worst nightmare, especially one that's always been fed without effort. While you're chilling, going out with your friends, focusing on your projects, and forgetting she exists, she's burning up inside. And here's the best part. She'll never admit any of this. She might keep posting stories like nothing's wrong. She might go out with other guys just to see if you get jealous. She might even act like she never even noticed you. But deep down, she's bothered. And that, my friend, is your trump card. Because, contrary to what many guys think, women don't want the easy catch. They want the challenge, the mystery. They want to feel they need to win the man, not the other way around. And when you become the guy who doesn't give a damn, you trigger the most powerful mental switch in her head. The desire for the unattainable. Remember that guy she ignored for months? The one who was always there. Until one day he wasn't. Yeah, now he's the most fascinating guy on earth. Because now she feels she lost control. And that's when the real panic begins. She enters the stage of desperate tests. Posts a more provocative pic just to see if you react. Drops some cryptic line on social media, hoping you notice. Sends a random text pretending it was an accident, just to test if you're still available. And when none of that works, when you keep living your best life not batting an eye, boom, now she's truly freaking out. Because the one thing her ego can't handle is being forgotten. And guess what happens the moment she feels she lost control of the situation? She starts chasing you. But wait, because in the next part, I'll show you how absolute disregard destroys any little game she tries to pull on you. Number 3, contempt crushes whatever game she plays on you. Now that you know indifference throws a woman into a panic, let's get to the final part. What happens when she finally reacts? Because yeah, she will react. But don't expect a "I miss you" or a "why did you ghost me?" That would be admitting defeat. And believe me, the female ego won't allow such humiliation. So instead, she'll test you. She has to see if you're really that indifferent, or just faking it. How does she do this? Simple, cheap little games. The provocative story trick. She posts a sensual pic or a mysterious caption screaming, "Look at me." The goal? To see if you'll do anything. If you like, comment, or, God forbid, send her a message. Game over. She knows she's still got you in the palm of her hand. But if you ignore it completely, the doubt inside her only grows. The indirect jabs. Suddenly you see stuff like, some people disappear and think they're missed. Nothing like time to reveal people's true colors. Eventually you see who's real. Translation. For the love of God, notice I'm talking about you. If you bite and ask, is that about me? Congrats, you just lost. But if you couldn't care less, she really starts to lose it. The random text game. After days or weeks of silence, out of nowhere you get, "Hey stranger. Hey, do you know a good pizza place? I think I saw you the other day, not sure though." You think she's genuinely interested in your reply? Not a chance. She just wants to see if you're still on standby. If you reply all excited, keep the convo going and show you're happy she texted. Game over. But if you answer with total chill, no room for follow-up, or simply ghost her, bam, she loses it. And now the final blow, absolute dismissal. Because here's the bottom line. A woman only plays games with someone she believes she can beat. If you're predictable, always react, always available, you're a weak opponent. But if you genuinely don't care, if she realizes you have options, a life, and that her attention means nothing to you, she loses all her power. And guess what happens then? She starts stalking your social media. She starts asking mutual friends about you. She does anything to get your attention. And the funniest part? The more you ignore her, the closer she tries to get. Now the question is, what do you do when she finally comes back? Well, if you're sick of being her doormat, of accepting crumbs and getting kicked whenever she feels like it, then wake up. It's time to quit being stepped on and turn the tables on this rigged game. Check the description for the digital book I left for you. After reading it, you'll learn how to become a real challenge, never bow your head again, and put any woman in her place without any mercy. Number 4, when she comes running back, what do you do? If you followed everything up to now, one thing's certain. She'll come back. It could take days, weeks, or even months, but she always comes back. And this is exactly where most guys blow it. After all that time ignoring her, holding firm, keeping the upper hand, she reappears. And what do a lot of guys do? They welcome her like a lost puppy. Big mistake. Because the second she realizes she can still manipulate you, that she's got you in her clutches, that you're the same old pushover, she vanishes again. Mission accomplished. Her ego's recharged. Now, if you really want to keep control, if you truly want to be the guy who never gets stepped on, listen up. The 3 golden rules for when she returns. Never reply right away. She sends you a message out of nowhere? The worst thing you can do is answer in 30 seconds like you've been waiting by the phone. You know what that tells her? He was waiting for this, I still own him. So instead, wait. Let the message sit there. Hours, maybe a whole day. Let her wonder. Did he see it and just ignore me? Does he not want to talk anymore? Is he with someone else? Women value what's scarce. If you're always ready to go, you're worthless. Keep it short and straight to the point. You finally decide to reply? No excitement, no show, no long explanation. She says, "Hey stranger." You, "Still am." She asks, "How have you been?" You, "Busy?" No opening for her to keep the conversation going. No chance for her to revert to old games. Be cold, be brief, be a mystery, and watch her squirm. Don't make her your priority. She suggests you meet up? Don't say yes right away. Say you have to check your schedule, you have other plans, you're busy. Show her she's not the center of your universe. Believe me, nothing is more powerful than that. Because when a woman realizes she doesn't have a man wrapped around her finger, that she could lose him any moment, that he's not desperate to be with her, that's when she starts chasing. And ironically, the more you treat her like just another option, the more she'll want to prove she's special. Now get this straight. This isn't about playing games. It's basic psychology. Women do not value men who roll over too easily. Women do not respect men who crawl after them. Women do not want a guy begging for a spot in their life. They want a challenge. And if you've made it this far, congratulations, you're on the right track. All that's left is one final shift, your mindset. Because it's not enough to fake indifference once. You've got to become the kind of man who never gets ignored again. And in the next part, I'll show you how to develop that high-value mindset so no woman can ever toy with you again. Number 5, your new mindset, the man she can't ignore. Now that you know exactly how to act when she comes back, it's time to change something even more crucial, your mindset. Because none of these strategies mean squat if, deep down, you're still the same insecure, needy guy you used to be. If you still see a woman as an unreachable trophy, if you still think you need to prove your worth to her, if you still rely on female validation to feel good about yourself, sooner or later you'll repeat the same old mistakes. And that's exactly why you need to build the mindset of a man who will never be manipulated again. The mindset of a man who simply cannot be ignored. The 3 rules for becoming a high-value man. You are the prize. Stop acting like winning over a woman is some grand achievement. The real win is her earning a place in your life, not the other way around. Once you truly believe that, you'll never chase anyone again. Because a high-value man doesn't beg for attention. He knows his own worth and doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. your life comes first. If you want women to chase you, then stop making them the focus of your entire existence. Pursue your own goals. Be independent. Develop your skills. Women are naturally drawn to men with a purpose, not guys circling their lives like lost puppies. A man who has a mission doesn't grovel for attention, and a man who doesn't grovel is a man who never gets tossed aside. Fear of losing makes you weak. If you're afraid of losing her, you've already lost, because that fear makes you predictable. That fear makes you needy. That fear leads to bad decisions. Men who aren't scared of losing are the ones who never actually get dumped, because they show one thing that destroys a woman's ego. They don't need anyone. And there's nothing that makes a woman more obsessed than a man she can't control. Now that you get all this, there's just one final piece, putting it into practice. And in the next and last part, I'll throw down a challenge for you. Number 6, become the high-value man. How to make her never forget you. You've learned how to ignore, how to resist her little games, and how to keep the upper hand when she comes back. Now for the most important step, because if you don't change your mindset, sooner or later, you'll fall into the same trap again. And what does that mean? It means you must stop acting like a guy who needs a woman's approval to feel good about himself. You have to flip a switch in your brain and realize your worth does not depend on any woman's attention. The man who never gets ignored is the one who doesn't chase anyone, doesn't beg for attention, doesn't put any woman at the center of his world. Because when a woman sees a man doesn't need her to be happy, that he's busy living his life, hitting his goals, improving himself, she can't overlook him, because that guy is rare, that guy is valuable, that guy is a challenge. Now tell me, which guy do you want to be? The one begging for crumbs of attention? Or the one who simply doesn't care and makes every woman want to be around him? If you want to be that guy, the change starts right now. It all comes down to one choice. The choice to put yourself first. The choice to stop caring about people who don't care about you. The choice to become a high-value man, one no woman can ever brush off. Now that you've understood everything, there's just one detail left. What are you gonna do with this information? Because when it's all said and done, knowing all this means nothing if you don't put it to use. And in the next and final section, I've got a challenge for you. The Indifference Challenge. Who's chasing who now? Now that you grasp the power of indifference, I've got a challenge for you. Starting today, pick that one woman who always ignored you, treated you like a backup plan, never gave you the respect you deserved, and just vanish. Stop replying to her messages right away. Stop liking and commenting on her posts. Stop chasing and feeding her ego for free. Disappear, then just watch what happens. It might take a few days, maybe weeks, but sooner or later she'll start missing your attention. And when that day comes, you'll finally see all of this in action. Now tell me, have you ever tested the power of indifference before? Have you ever seen a woman who used to ignore you suddenly start chasing after you once you vanished? If it's happened to you, drop a comment and share your experience. And if it hasn't happened yet, then it's time to make it happen. Test it right now. And come back here and let me know. Who's chasing who now?